Good morning, football fans around the world. What's going on, y'all? How's everybody doing? And welcome to another edition of Mega 3 and Out. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mega, baby. We got all the football coming at you today. Obviously, we got to crown some national champions because some of these teams just totally surprised us, and well, they all deserve it, right? So, of course, today we'll be crowning Mater Dei because we knew that would happen, right? Good old Mater Dei claims another national championship via Max Prep. So excited for those young men doing big things there, making it happen. Also, NCAA Division II. Wow, it wasn't even close, y'all. Ferris State absolutely mopped the floor with Valdosta State, a lot like Grandview did to Kaiser in the NAIA National Championship. So I'm just saying, this past weekend, well, there were some surprises, but when you look at how these teams have played all season long, maybe we shouldn't be saying there's too much of a surprise. So, also, we got that today. We'll be looking into this last week of bowl season because they have been super fun. The college football playoff has not disappointed. We know where we are. We know who they are. And well, we are ready for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day coming on up because we got ourselves some matchups that we got to talk about. Also, bowl season, like I said, rolls on. I have seriously got to say, this has been one of the better bowl seasons that I've seen in a long time because these games down the Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve was insane. Yesterday, we got to see some damn good ones. And oh yeah, fight on USC. Incredible game last night in the Las Vegas Bowl. So many good games. And then, of course, can't forget about the NFL, right? We had some Christmas games. Tough day for the Steelers. Great day for the Ravens. We had some games this past weekend we got to talk about, and of course today we have like a million games, including 3 NFL games and like 7 college games. Oh yeah, y'all, it's about that time. Grab you something delicious, grab you some coffee, grab you some breakfast, because we're about to take you to football land. Here it comes, y'all. You are now tuned in live with Mega 3 and Out right here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all who's that is sport.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Okay. Yeah. You gotta love it, baby. You gotta enjoy. You gotta tune on in and be a part of this network because we enjoy what we do, and that's delivering you all that is sports. What's going on, everybody? Once again, welcome back. Mega 3 now. I'm telling you guys, the mega thing's really rolling. I don't know, man. Next year, Teran just put it out there. I know Teran just got here, so a few minutes ago. So yeah, I don't know. Next year, it might 3 and out just might be one show. I don't know because I love how it's going. So we're gonna see, man. But with that said, big ups everybody for tuning in, man. You guys are amazing. Of course, check us out. All those places down right here around the bottom of the screen. Follow us all over the place. IE Sports Radio. We're really growing that YouTube channel right now. It's really coming along nicely. So please make sure to go on over, subscribe, show us some love, man. Be a part of it. Give us a follow everywhere. All right. And of course, we just appreciate so much. Thank you for being a part of this. Big ups to our awesome sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Of course, Vital Apparel. I got my Iron Therapy shirt. I should go grab it. I will in a little bit. But I got it yesterday or on Thursday, so I'm super excited to wear that to the gym coming up. And probably tomorrow morning I'll be wearing that sucker, man. Super excited for my Iron Therapy shirt. And hey, you should go grab you one as well. Make sure to use our good old promo code IESR, get 15% off. Super appreciate it. Helps us out, helps them out. And hey, you get a super cool piece of gear. Of course, check out iSportsRadio.com/shop. Grab you one of these bad boys, one of these, all the goodies. And of course, check out Seal the Deal Wax Seals. iSportsRadio.com/Seal the Deal Wax Seals. $1. Awesome stuff. Cecilia did really good this year during the Christmas break. So check her out, show her some love, and order you some wax seals. So with that said, you guys, let's go ahead and jump on into it. We got lots of football to get into today, man. More football you can shake a stick at. And I feel like even though we're like winding down now with the show, it's like another month, and I think it's pretty much we're good. Well, guess what? I feel like it's heating up now. It's even more crazier because we got the NFL in there as well. So with that said, man, we got to jump on into our show. And to help me deliver all the latest in football, we got my boy, man. He is iSports Radio Hall of Famer and, of course, the host of Set Point, sending off Penn State with a championship last Monday, or him on Monday, but them last Sunday. Of course, he is the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where he freaking actually predicted the score of yesterday's Las Vegas Bowl. Pretty cool. And, of course, he's co-host of this show right here, Mega 3 and Out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my boy, Teran Rodriguez. What's going on, man?
Hey, Larry B. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I was really impressed with USC's win, to say the least. But we got a lot of football to cover, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So,
fight on, FC. Let's go. Yeah, man, it was oh my gosh, that game gave me more heart attacks than I thought I would ever have. But my gosh, but it was awesome. Big ups and appreciate it for everybody tuning in, man. Let's just get to it. So, Teran, first deal, man. Make sure to give this guy a follow at Teran Rodriguez, of course, one at setpoint_IE and at SoCal Show IESR. You can follow me over there at the THEE_LB53, 3 and out CEIE, and 3 and out IESR. So, all those good deals. Teran, let's go ahead and just jump on into, let's just go in order today. Might as well, right? I mean, and everything else is kind of fading and going. First things first, man, a little bit of high school football. We had one more game to play last week, Teran. Just one more. Obviously, the upsets of the freaking century, right, in Texas football. We had North Crowley knocking off Duncanville. We had Westlake knocking off North Shore. And, well, they got to play in the UIL 6A D1 final. And, Teran, what we thought might have been a close game was nowhere near. North Crowley puts up a 50 burger, and that's it. That's what happens. North Crowley, the 6A D1 champion in Texas, outright state champs, getting it done, man. Westlake, valiant effort, unfortunately wasn't to be. And that's it, Teran. High school football is officially over for the year. How about that performance by North Crowley, man?
Yeah, North Crowley, I thought, just played really good. They were great from the get-go. Nothing, I mean, you can't really fault them for anything. I think they were just straight up phenomenal and whatnot. So, and honestly, Westlake needed to play a perfect game, which they unfortunately did not. And yeah, it was at halftime. It was basically 28-7, and that's when you knew you're in for a rough game. But gotta give it up to the Chaparrals for making this a battle. It's just that North Crowley just had a little bit more in the tank and then some.
Yeah, Teran, I wish it could have been a little bit better. Especially, I mean, I don't know, Teran. Do you feel that if it would have been Duncanville and North Shore, it would have been a lot closer? Or do you think this game was destined to be a blowout?
I think it could have been closer had Duncanville made it, but unfortunately they just couldn't take care of business. So I think this was kind of the projected outcome.
Yeah, it was a rough go. I really, really like the fact that Duncanville and North Shore were so dominant this year to make us, to give us that thought that it was going to be those two. But Teran, that was it, man. These two ended up being the upsetters, making big things happen. And that was that, dude. So congratulations to these teams, for all of them for getting to that Final Four. Congratulations to North Crowley and to Westlake for getting there. And big ups to these teams, man. We got a lot of D1 guys going this year from these schools. Super excited. We'll be talking about that, of course, as the weeks come, where certain players are going and all that good stuff. But there you go, Teran. And of course, let's go ahead and finish off high school football with the proper send-off, man. And this is it. This is the last week we're going to be talking about high school football, man. And it's the final week of the year. We got New Year's coming up in a few days. I mean, this is it, man. So, Teran, was this ever a surprise? Modern Day has done it, of course. The Monarchs, they earned their third national championship since 2017. And Teran, I mean, is this, like I said, was this ever a surprise? Was this any, does any bit of this conversation surprise you whatsoever?
They were the outright number one, the consensus number one. So, no, I am not surprised.
Yeah, this was dominant. This is probably one of the most dominant modern day teams we've seen. I would argue that 2017, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who else was on that team, Teran? But that team, that was their first one, their first Max Preps national championship. And that was probably one of the more dominant teams I think we've ever seen. In modern day, a couple years ago, they won it. They looked pretty good. But this year, I don't know, dude. They went wire to wire. They were the preseason preseason number one, and they never gave up the title. They played all the top schools that they could. They didn't even get to play one game because nobody else wanted to play them. I don't know, Teran. What do you think? Is it this team or is it the 2017 team that you feel is the more impressive modern day team?
I mean, this year's team just had no issues whatsoever. Looking at 2017's team, they also went 15-0. Looking at all their results, they beat Bosco by 10 the first meeting, crushed them in the second meeting, and then pretty much crushed De La Salle. So, I think this year's modern day team, since they started out number one and eventually finished out number one, was just so strong. But you mentioned some of the players that were on that team, being Amon-Ra St. Brown. You also had Brew McCoy, who is doing his thing. I think he's at Texas, Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. So, and then JT Daniels, who had a solid college football career, going from like Georgia and then USC and then West Virginia and so on and so forth. And Cody Epps, he had himself he was on that team as well. So yeah, just some food for thought right there.
Well, there were some monsters on that team, man. But once again, we've seen what players made it. We've seen what players were close, but fell by the wayside. Unfortunately, we see a lot of, we got to see it, Teran. We got to see some of these guys. Of course, JT Daniels being, I think, obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown, the one I think who really became the dude from that team. However, we got to see these guys grow and get there. And so, like I said, not too fair just yet to max these guys up against that team. But I will say that 2017 team, completely impressive. And that doesn't say anything, though. Okay, we're not saying anything bad, though, about the team from a couple of years ago, man. Because don't forget, Modern Day also did this thing 2020. What was it, 20 last year? Or no, they did it in 21, didn't they? Let me go ahead and take a look at my notes. 2021 national champions that year as well. And hey, that was an amazing team as well. So lots of these guys still yet to make it to the league. So big ups to Modern Day. I looked at it last night, and Teran, I don't know if you got to see it, but Max Preps, they actually put up, because since they've been doing their rankings in the last 20 years now, Teran. This is crazy to think that. I'm so honored to be a part. I think I was a sophomore when Max Preps became a thing,
Yeah, I think Max Prep started in 2004.
2004. I was a sophomore. That was my JV and varsity year together. Talk about a tiring year, Teran, having back-to-back games. That was fun, right? Let's put you on JV so we can train you and then suit you up on Friday nights and put you up against the big boys. Those were fun days, Teran. But yeah, so it's cool to go back and look at your stats, see those things. But it's so cool. It's so cool, man, because you get to see all those champions from all those years ago, and I love it because on right now on Max Preps, if you go take a look at it, you see all these champions back from 2005 South Lake Carroll, okay, all the way to today. So let's go ahead and honor those champions, by the way, man, of the last 20 years, having South Lake Carroll out of South Lake, Texas, be 2005 and 2006 national champs back to back. Then 2007, my graduating year, we had here St. Xavier. I remember those guys. They had that dreaded 3-3-5. Our coaches actually ran that 3-3-5 defense based off of those guys. Remember them like going to a clinic, I think, for them or something like that. Big time team out of Cincinnati. Then we had here 2008 St. Thomas Aquinas out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I think we know about those guys, Teran. 2009 Don Bosco Prep out of Ramsey, New Jersey. We had 2010 South Panola out of Batesville. Look at this. Wow, Mississippi. Nice victory there for those guys in 2010. Then we had Don Bosco Prep again out of Ramsey, New Jersey, winning in 2011. In 2012, we had John Curtis Christian out of River Ridge, Louisiana. So looking over there to the Bayou, man. In 2013, Booker T. Washington out of Miami, Florida, first Miami school to do it. Then we have here 2014, Allen, Texas, major college football in Texas, as we know. The following year, the crown stays in Texas with Katy, Texas, winning this thing in 2015. 2016, Bishop Gorman gets their first one. I think that was Snoop Dogg's son on that team. Am I right?
I think so, yeah.
That was when, he was playing there. So then we have here in 2017, obviously Mater Dei's first one. That was the Amon-Ra St. Brown. That was the JT Daniels team. In 2018, St. John Bosco would get it. Actually, sorry, 2018, we had North Shore out of Houston, Texas, winning theirs. Then 2019, St. John Bosco wins their first crown. 2020, we had the IMG Academy, even though it was a weird COVID year. They went 8-0 that year, and we still had football, and these guys were the outright champs. 2021 Mater Dei earns their second one, of course. We talked about all of these from 2019 till now on this show. 2022, that was the Uyunglele year, if I'm not mistaken, for St. John Bosco when they won their national championship, the Braves. Then last year, Bishop Gorman wrestled one away from Mater Dei, with Mater Dei taking that one loss to St. John Bosco in the regular season. And then Mater Dei won it again this past year in 2024. So, Teran, congratulations to the last 20 years of champions, man. That's awesome, right?
Oh, yeah.
So big ups, and once again, man, just putting a stamp on it here. The high school season was awesome. Big ups to Max Preps, by the way, man, because they put together a really cool website. They really make this fun. They make it fun for guys like myself, to go look back at our stuff and to keep track of all of our high schools and everything around. And it's just really cool. So big ups to you, man. Max Preps, of course, champions. We love those guys. So, yep, that's right. Big ups to Max Preps. And again, big ups to Mater Dei. So before we move forward, Teran, got to say what's up to the chat room, man. Big up to our boy, Ralph Calise. Big boy over here, man. He hit the big 50 yesterday. And his 50th show, man, in 1 year. He's only missed 2 weeks in this past year. So congratulations to him. And of course, today, his birthday, by the way. So happy birthday to our boy, Ralph Calise, the host of the Injury Report here on iSports Radio. And big ups to our boy, Adam Karnick, man. Showing love to him as well. Stay tuned, man. We got some Illinois stuff coming your way. So thank you, everybody, tuning in. We appreciate you all so very much. So, Teran, there you have it. College or high school football is officially closed. The door is done. I mean, the season's done. The door is closed, and that's it, man. Next stop for these guys, either getting back to
the Senior Bowl, probably. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's right. We got the Senior Bowl, so it's not completely closed yet, but we will be talking about the Senior Bowl. Well, the Under Armour, right, All-American Bowl, obviously. So we got a lot of those guys coming out. And let's see what we got. Of course, a quick little breeze. Remember, our 3C2A champions. Congratulations again to them, San Mateo. Of course, big ups this year, beating Mount San Antonio. Just got to throw that in there, just for those who've not been tuning in all year. Okay, but of course, big ups to those guys. They won a couple of weeks ago. And Teran, of course, we talked about these guys too. Hutchinson getting it done in the NJCAA, defeating the Blue Dragons, man. What a victory for those guys last week. And Hutchinson gets it done, winning another title. So congratulations to the Blue Dragons. And now let's go ahead and get on into the most recent news as NAIA comes to a close. Teran, wow. Yeah. You and I thought this might be the exact opposite. And when I mean exact opposite, I mean exact opposite. But how about this, man? Grandview, Iowa defeats Kaiser, Florida 35-7. 35-7. They win their second national championship in program history, and the first one since 2013. A special one here because head coach, I gotta go pull up his name, but super cool. He wins himself a title almost 10 years, well, 11 years after his father coaches the same exact team 11 years prior to win this dang thing for their first time. 11 years later, his son takes over. And guess what? He wins himself a championship. Teran, how about this, man? Congratulations to the Vikings, man. Joe Woodley, by the way, is his name. I'd pull him up real quick. But Coach Joe Woodley gets it done. And his father, Mike Woodley, he was the head coach of Grandview. He took the program over. But yeah, man, big ups to Joe Woodley getting it done, man, just like his father did 11 years ago. And it wasn't even close, Teran. Grandview beat the brakes off of Kaiser, man.
Yeah, and if you pretty much saw that, it pretty much went as expected. Grandview was spotted 21 straight points pretty much throughout the first half of the game. And then Kaiser, credit to them, they were able to get a touchdown to try to get some momentum going, but it just didn't work because Grandview just kept Kaiser at bay offensively. Kaiser only converted 1 third down out of a possible 13. Just one. It's crazy if you ask me. While Grandview was 7 for 11 on third down, even though Kaiser had over 400 yards of offense, it just was not enough. Grandview had 485 yards of total offense.
Golly.
And then in terms of penalties, that was in favor of Grandview. But overall, it just looked like everything was just dominant from Grandview's perspective. I just think Grandview just was strong overall. And it sucks that Kaiser just kind of laid a goose egg when it mattered most. But sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. And Grandview deserves a lot of credit for all that they did because they pretty much had a strong run game. And they got off to such a big lead where Kaiser had to abandon the run game because they didn't want to chew up clock and they had to throw the ball. So that eventually led to a not so good formula for success. So I think for Kaiser, it was just not their day overall. And Grandview got that head start where they were not losing this one.
No, it was a tough one, dude. It was a rough go for Grandview. I mean, really. It was a rough go for Kaiser. Kaiser got there. They fought so hard. They had a game versus Benedictine in the earlier, rounds, and it was so close. Kaiser had to come back. And Teran, I think we knew in this game, if somebody got down, there probably wasn't any coming back. This was a team with 2 high-powered offenses. And, really, when you look at how strong Grandview was or is, by the half, I think this one was pretty much not decided completely, but it was ugly from around the half of the game. So realistically, man, Grandview just played well. Kaiser, man, I hate to say it, they just didn't show up, man. It was kind of rough.
Waring, they made Jackson Waring look like Lamar Jackson. He had 4 passing touchdowns and he had over 200 rushing yards. So that's pretty much all you pretty much need to know.
Yeah, just a total and utter beatdown, man. This was a rough go. But you know what? Hey, Kaiser got there. This is pretty cool, man. I was looking at a bunch of stats last night and just kind of putting some stuff together for the show. And it's crazy, man. Taking a look at let's see here. Whoops. Whoops, over here just typing the wrong stuff for us. But Teran, looking at like the overall from the last couple of years, okay. So the NAIA since 2019, of course, this show's been going since 2017. But last when you started joining me and we started doing the show together and everything. So since 2019, NAIA Morningside, they were going back to back. They won the year before, then they won in 2019. So they won 18, 19. In 2020, obviously the COVID year, Lindsey Wilson won that one. Like I said, COVID year. I hate to put asterisks by these ones, but some teams played, some teams didn't. Whatever. But Lindsey Wilson, they got it done that year. They got the victory. Then, of course, Morningside won it again in 2021. Then 2022, we had North. Now this is where we start seeing Kaiser, because Northwestern defeats Kaiser 35-25 in 2002. Sorry, 2022. Okay, 2023 last year. Kaiser then defeated Northwestern. And then last year, Kaiser, that's when they went on to defeat Northwestern. Sorry. So if you take a look at it, they were there the last 2 years, man. I mean, in a row, they were there. So this year, they got there again. Unfortunately, though, just like 2 years prior, they took an L. So I gotta say, even though they're 1-2 in the last 3 years, dude, Kaiser got there 3 years in a row. That says a lot. you know? That
Yeah,
says a
and
lot.
Kaiser deserves a lot of credit for all their season. I thought they had a fantastic season, but unfortunately, this game just did not go their way because, well, Grandview, it's hard to lose a game when your quarterback is throwing for 4 touchdowns and has for over 200 rushing yards, and your other running back has a rushing touchdown and he has over 100 yards himself. So yeah, this basically was Grandview written all over it, and it just helps that they played some clean, solid football in the biggest game of the season.
Oh yeah. And that's awesome, man. So congratulations again to Grandview for getting it done, man. Champions this year. They got to hold up the big red banner. So they got themselves another one, man. So second one in 11 years. Congratulations to those guys.
And you mentioned Joe Woodley. I think either his brother or his son is the assistant coach or general manager, Andy Woodley.
Oh, that's awesome, man. We got the Woodleys going on in Iowa, man. So that would be cool.
Generation of Grandview football coaches.
That is amazing, dude. Well, congratulations to the Woodleys. They had a Merry Christmas, and they're going to have themselves a Happy New Year. But I'm sure, just like all the other legendary coaches, they're going to enjoy they enjoy their Christmas. They're going to enjoy their New Year, and probably New Year's Day they're going back to work. I'm just saying. I'm almost positive these guys. They seem like a bunch of workers, man. So I love it, and enjoy the championship, though, guys. Enjoy it, and we might just see them again next year. So there we have it, but don't count out Kaiser. I don't know. We might get a rematch. Let's just see how these things go. But Division III, Teran. Well, this was, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about these games. One game was so edge of your seat thrilling, and the other game was a total dud. Let's get the first one out of the way. I mean, this actually, I think, happened second. Regardless, North Central absolutely rolls Susquehanna 66-0. I mean, this wasn't even close. This game seemed like it was over in the first 2 seconds. I mean, this game was completely 1,000% done. I mean, put a fork in them, y'all. Susquehanna had an amazing year. That's what gets me. Susquehanna had a good year, man. These guys had a very, very, very good season. They came in, they looked ready to go, and I mean, I'm not gonna slight North Central. Okay, North Central. I mean, taking a look at once again the last couple of years, Teran, since 2019. Okay, North Central. And this was a special year for them. This was their first one. They defeated Wisconsin Whitewater 41-14. Then in 2000, it was canceled in 2020. In 2021, we had here, let's see here, where are we at? We had Mary Hardin Baylor defeating North Central, okay, 57-24. Then in 2022, guess what? North Central defeated Mount Union, so they're in it again. All right. I mean, take a look at this, man. 19, they're in it. They win it. All right. The Stag Bowl. In 2021, they're in it, but they lose it to Mary Hardin Baylor. 2022, they're in it, and they defeated Mount Union. Last year, they were in it, and they lost to SUNY Cortland. So, dude, they've been, since you and I have been doing the show together, they've been in the Stag Bowl, which is crazy. So, here they are again, absolutely dominating performance, defeating Susquehanna 6-0. And then, of course, the mighty Mount Union, who's been on a tear since 1993. Okay, these guys, it was a close game with Johns Hopkins, man. Very offensive game. 45-37, big victory there for Mount Union. And as I said a little bit ago, obviously Mount Union's been in and around the championship as well. Of course, being there in 2000, and they lost that year, by the way. Mary Hardin Baylor won it all, defeating North Central in 2022. That was they lost in the semifinals, I believe, to Mount Union. They lost to Mary Hardin Baylor that year. And then, of course, last year they were there. I mean, or they weren't there. They lost, I think, to North Central last year. So regardless, Mount Union, mighty Mount Union, man. They, though, are making their way back. First time in a couple of years getting back. And there you have it. So, Teran, how about these two games, man?
Yeah, for the Susquehanna North Central game, this one's kind of simple. It's tough to beat a team when you only have 135 yards of offense overall. And for North Central, they had over 600 yards of offense. They had 352 in terms of rushing and 286 of passing. And by halftime, it was 49-0. This would basically be running clock material if it were something like a high school game. But yeah, it just felt like when the kickoff started, someone unplugged Susquehanna's controller while North Central had theirs pretty much dialed in on autopilot. So it's tough for Susquehanna to go out like that, and you don't really like to go out that way. Now, for Mount Union and Johns Hopkins, I basically said if this one turns into a shootout, that'll favor Mount Union because Mount Union loves to score the ball, while Johns Hopkins is a defensive team. And I thought Johns Hopkins' defense was probably not going to be able to keep up with Mount Union's high-powered offense. And I'll give Johns Hopkins credit. They were in it for the most part in that first half. Then when it came to a shootout, that's when it kind of got a little bit hairy. And when Mount Union had that fourth quarter surge, that was pretty much good game right there.
And you know what, man? That goes to show you how good this football team really is, man. I love seeing how basically the wits tested of these teams at this stage. And dude, I mean, it was, what's that old saying? It's one man's will versus another. That's football. Well, this was one team's will versus another. And yeah, man, I mean, Mount Union put it together and they got a nice victory. They looked great. They played great. Congratulations to those guys. And here we go, Teran. So it looks like coming up, man. My gosh, I mean, like, where does it go? Next weekend, of course, or next Sunday, we will have Stag Bowl. Oh my gosh, hilarious here that I don't know the number, but we have the Stag Bowl coming up next weekend on Sunday. So next weekend, we will, of course, get our little preview of the game, make our picks, but those are two teams who are playing in it. Let's see who does what. All right, so off to Division II, and here it is, Teran. Just like you said, I picked Valdosta because I said it was going to be a pick'em game. But I just wanted to be different and have fun with it. And, well, wouldn't you know it was completely backwards. Teran, good call. Ferris State gets this thing done, man. 49-14. The Bulldogs earned their third championship in program history, and their third in the last 4 freaking years. Teran, how about these Bulldogs, man?
Yeah, it was pretty much a great performance by Ferris State overall. I just thought that they just looked strong from the get-go. Like 14-0 after the first quarter, that's when you know you're in deep trouble if you're Valdosta State. And I gotta give it to Fair State. They held Valdosta State to under 200 rushing yards. And in terms of overall offense, Fair State had 468 yards of offense. Valdosta State was lucky to pretty much have 389. But once they got down, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong stat. Rushing yards, Valdosta State had 121 rushing yards, so they were well below their average. But that's what happens when you get off to such a slow start, and when you're down 28-21, you got to abandon the run, and you have to basically shift over to the passing game. So I think Fair State did a great job of forcing its opponent to have to try something new and adapting to the run game when they possibly could. And
Yeah.
I thought Fair State played a clean game for the most part. It looked like they just didn't have too many mistakes or boo-boos and whatnot. So I thought Fair State just played much more cleaner, if you ask me. And it also doesn't help for Valdosta State that they fumbled the ball 5 times and lost it 1 time. So, yeah, I thought that was something that Valdosta State really struggled with. And that's kind of the reason why they had only 121 rushing yards, in my opinion.
And that is a rough go. Dude, I'll tell you right now, man, this team was dialed in from the start, though. Ferris State played well, and they got it done, man. Congratulations to these guys. Looking at this Ferris State team, it's awesome, man. I mean, look what they've done. Look what they've been able to do. So, once again, going back 2019, as you can see, I was reminiscing with football, but going back 2019, Teran, we have here a awesome job in Division II that year by West Florida. That was West Florida winning their first championship ever. And remember, I was all excited for the Argos, man, 5 years ago, and they got it done, defeating Minnesota State, the Mavericks that year, 48-40, and that was the championship. They won in only their 4th year of existing, so the Argos did their thing. Then 2020 came along. That was the year that sanctioning body or Division II was canceled. Then the next year in 21, Ferris State, this game happened already, Teran. Ferris State defeated Valdosta State 58-17 that year. And very similar to this game. Then 2022, sorry. That was 21. This is 22 now. We had Ferris State defeating Colorado School of Mines 41-14. Then last year, this was when Harding defeated School of Mines. Ferris State didn't get in. And then this year, Ferris State does it again, defeating Valdosta 49-14. So, Teran, we've got to see Ferris State actually do all these great things within their program over the last couple of years. Awesome to see that, man. I mean, this team has really played well. They've done everything they've needed to do in the last few years to become a premier team in Division II. And congratulations to these guys, man. So the Bulldogs get it done again. And this time, just like we've seen years past, in dominating fashion.
Yeah, Fair State, this was a fantastic season for them. I know they had that one loss early in the season, but I feel that loss might have been the turning point for them. I feel that having a little bit of adversity just really benefited them in terms of their season. And I think when it came down to it, I think Valdosta State had more pressure on them because they were undefeated, and it's so tough to finish the season undefeated, which I gotta give it up to Valdosta State. They were undefeated up to that point, but I think Fair State just came in with a lot of fire in their bellies, and they just looked really strong from the get-go in this game. And I think another turning point in the game was Fair State getting a late touchdown, because they got a touchdown with about 10 minutes or 10 seconds left in the second quarter. And just when Valdosta State had cut the lead and got their first score of the game, Fair State just snatched the momentum like they snatched a chain from you. And eventually Fair State just said, no more, you're not getting any more momentum, sir. So I thought Fair State just did a great job of keeping the momentum on their side.
They did. And you know what, man? It just goes to show you how well coached this team is, too, man. These guys were fighting like hell. And congratulations to them, man. It goes to show you, man. Once again, you get out there, you ball out, you give everything you got. And, hey, when it's your time, you go. And these guys played, and they played damn good this year. So there we go. Another title heads on over to Ferris State. Congratulations to these guys on an amazing season. And boy, oh boy, let's see if they can do it again next year and get back to this thing. Because Teran, I mean, I'm telling you, as long as you and I've been doing this show, they've been pretty much in and around that championship. So I don't know if it'll be any different next year, man. Because these guys, that program is awesome. They keep on putting together championship teams, and they look good over there. So with that said, Teran, we're going to roll on now really quick into the FCS. And here we go. So FCS playoffs, if you will. We had over the last weekend, Montana State defeating South Dakota. That was a rough game to watch because I don't know if you got to catch any of it, Teran, but man, it was rough to watch because, and not because of the winner or anything. Montana State played amazing, but South Dakota, there were so many opportunities for them to win that game. And there was even a point, I don't know if you saw one of the receivers get in the quarterback's face and they freaking got into it on the sideline. And it happened, dude. I mean, it's rough. It's rough when you see when you have these teams that have so much riding, they have so much there. They know that this is it. If they don't win this game this next season. And it was rough. Tempers flared. Rough go, but the Coyotes make their exit in the semifinal. What a rough go for those guys. And Montana State, they find themselves back in this thing, man. Championship time. And on the other side of this, tough. North Dakota State continues to just find their way into this game, man, defeating their bitter rivals, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, man. They were in this thing. They were both in this thing. It came down to the last quarter. What a game, though. North Dakota State defeats South Dakota State 28-21. And, well, Teran, guess what? We got another championship to talk about next Monday, of course, as these two go head-to-head, Montana State and North Dakota State, in that FCS championship.
Yeah, for the semifinals, hard to beat a team when said team only has 2 penalties for only 5 yards. And it sucks for South Dakota. I think experience also kind of hurt them just because Montana State just seemed a little bit more polished, in my opinion. Offenses were fairly equal for the most part, even though Montana State had over 400, while South Dakota was just under 400. But in terms of turning the ball over, obviously South Dakota had one fumble, which unfortunately kind of hurt them. And then getting off to a little, I wouldn't say a sluggish start, but it eventually I just feel that the offense in the second half just wasn't the same for South Dakota. But I feel defense kind of took over in the second half after it was 24-14. So you got to give credit to Montana State, though. I think they rode their experience to the finish line, and I thought they just looked a little bit more cleaner, in my opinion. I just think that South Dakota is a year or two away for the most part. And then for South Dakota State versus North Dakota State, this one was the classic case of rivalry, and this one was fun. I think this one was definitely a fun little matchup right here, and this just goes to show that the rivalry between these two teams are more. It's real. It's more than just real. So I was just very impressed by both of these teams and how they performed. I don't think it gets any better than that when it comes to FCS football. So that's and even though North Dakota State kind of lost the offensive yards battle, I thought they were very efficient. They didn't turn the ball over once, which it's obviously good to have. They were fairly better on third downs and so on and so forth. So this was a great game. I mean, South Dakota State dominated pretty much the big stats, but North Dakota State was able to make the big plays to get the job done.
They did, Teran, and very well said, man. Spoken like a champ over there. Dude, it was awesome. It was so cool to see these teams go head-to-head. And we knew, right? We knew that South
Bryce
Dakota
Lance
State
is a beast, by the way.
Who
Bryce
was
Lance
that?
is actually Trey Lance's younger brother, so Sorry, go ahead.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool, though. I mean, well, obviously, last name the same, right? But Teran, I mean, you love it. I love what these teams got going. There's so much excitement and buzz around all four of these teams, and it was rough because South Dakota State made their exit, like I said, and we knew this team was going to come fighting. We knew they were going to be good, but we didn't know how far they were going to go. I feel like they were kind of like UC Davis with us, right? We knew they were going to go far. We knew they were going to go somewhere far. We just didn't know how far. And South Dakota would end UC Davis the week before. And, well, this past week, Montana State would end South Dakota. So rough go. But anyway, man, next weekend show, we're going to be talking about this game coming up, Montana State versus North Dakota State, man. Oh, it's going to be fun. I'm excited for this one. I mean, I'm always excited for all the football, dude. But look at last year. Really cool. South Dakota State won it all, defeating Montana, and it's a total beatdown, 23-3. And then the year before that, South Dakota State finally got the monkey off their back, or the bison off their back, if you will, 45-21, defeating North Dakota State that year in 2022. 2021, North Dakota State, well, wouldn't you know it, this game was already played a couple years ago, Teran, and North Dakota State won that one 38-10 over Montana State. So, is that, that just goes to show you these two teams have been around for a while. Obviously the COVID year, we had South Dakota State making it versus Sam Houston State. Sam Houston State, though, now in Division I Single A, would defeat South Dakota State 23-21 that year. And then going back to 2019, well, North Dakota State would get revenge on James Madison from a few years prior as they would win. And once again, Teran, kind of crazy, if it wouldn't have been for that James Madison year in 2016, I think North Dakota State would have won something like 12 or 13 straight years. So that's crazy, except for that break in the chain 2016. So anyway, Teran, there you have it, man. We're going to talk about these guys more next week. And there we have it, man. So anything before we roll on to the college football playoff?
Not necessarily. I just thought that I think experience does matter. And
yeah,
I hope for South Dakota, they use this as a stepping stone to try to get back to this stage. Because let's be honest, the Midwestern schools or central schools, when it comes to the FCS, they just seem to have a step ahead of everyone else. I mean, Davis might get better next year because they have a very electric freshman quarterback coming in Xavier Guess. He was dynamite for El Medina, but I think for these four schools, I can't maybe expect them to see these four next year unless maybe Davis kind of challenges them and whatnot. But all in all, I think we will expect to see a majority of these schools, maybe different rankings. Maybe we'll see Montana State versus North Dakota State or South Dakota State, and then maybe South Dakota versus North Dakota State, or maybe even South Dakota versus South Dakota State. So it's going to be exciting times for next year. But this year, Montana State and North Dakota State, I kind of expected it to be that championship.
Oh yeah, good call, Teran. Because man, it was some good stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing these teams coming forth in the coming years. So here we go, Teran, into the FBS. Actually, you know what? Before we get into the FBS, let's take ourselves a break. We've gone for almost an hour straight, so let's go ahead and take a break here. When we come back, the tangled web we weave, Teran. 4 teams weren't enough. Everyone wanted 12. And now that we have 12, we're getting complaints that we should just have 8. Well, we're going to talk about that. And, of course, the teams who made it to that 8-team playoff now, if you will, in the bracket. On the other side of this break, once again, you're listening to Mega 3 and Out right here at IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. Will be right back talking some Division I Single A and into the NFL football right after this.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash
and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we are back. Oh yeah, we're just jamming. We're rocking the guitar, baby. Oh yeah. Oh, Teran's got it over there. He's jamming. Solo. He's hitting that solo as we fade out. You already know, y'all. We are back, ready to roll, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here. You are listening to Mega 3 and Out right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Man, it's been a fun one so far. We appreciate you guys for being here. Just getting ready for the tip-off. Kind of funny, man. Our boy Mikey Two Guns in the chat right now. Big ups to you, good sir. He's excited. That's right. BC. I guess Teran and I, it's kind of funny just talking about this game because, I mean, to think they would have played in the Fenway Bowl. I'm just saying, kind of weird. They end up in the Boston and New York love to hate each other, and this is kind of weird that they end up in the freaking Pinstripe Bowl. But it's what it is. That game's set to kick off actually right now. We are getting ready at the moment. Actually, no, sorry. Fenway Bowl, UConn and North Carolina getting ready to kick off right now. Pinstripe Bowl happening at the top of next hour. So I just had to get that game on right now. So just kicking off at the moment. I'll be watching this game as we're live. But what's going on? Big ups to our boy once again, Mikey Two Guns, man, doing his thing over there of our bleeping city. So, Teran, let's get to it, bro. Last week, man, or this last past weekend, Saturday, like I said, not bowl season just yet. So off to the playoff. Well, these three games happened. And, Penn State would rock Southern Methodist SMU 38-10. Texas, well, they would handle Clemson 38-24. And Ohio State would smack around Tennessee 42-17. Teran, I don't know if you heard it. I'm almost positive you have. But, man, Twitter was just a fun place to be last week, man, because after these three games happened, we've complained about it ourselves, wanting more teams, having a tournament. And the tournament's here. And guess what? Now, everyone's complaining that maybe there's too many teams now because these first round games are horrible because they're kind of lopsided. But now the 8-team playoff is where it really is. So now everyone's saying, let's ditch the 12 and go to an 8. There's just no pleasing everybody, Teran. There is no pleasing everybody. Regardless, I know, right? As we were talking about, exactly, right, Mikey? Yeah, weird, right? They're in Yankee land. But let's see if they can defeat the final game without, of course, Bill being the head coach of North Carolina. And oh yeah, hey, for both of us, man, we were last night. Two diehard SC fans got to see something crazy. Oh yeah, right. So we'll get into that in just a bit. But of course, Teran, here we are, dude. Penn State getting it done. Texas and Ohio State. What do you think, bro? I mean, what do you think? What do you think about these three games?
Yeah, I mean, all these. Let's keep it a buck. All these college football playoff games were in the first round were fairly disappointing. It's sad that Clemson, Texas was the closest of the four games. Like I expected a lot better from Tennessee against Ohio State, being an 8-9. SMU just had zero answer for Penn State. Penn State just straight up beat them down. And then Notre Dame, look, I get it. Indiana only lost by 10, but they were down 27-3 going into the fourth. So, yeah, look, this is a work in progress, if you ask me. I think that this is only going to continue to get better and whatnot. So I think we ought to just slow our roll and just see what this whole playoff bracket does for us next season. Because let's be honest, there was not going to be a Cinderella in the first round. I mean, give credit to Clemson. They were down 21, but they at least made a comeback. They tried to claw their way back, and they made a 7-point game. And then Texas just kind of stole that momentum and then just swung them out of Austin. So you had that right there. And then Ohio State, other than that second quarter, they just looked strong and dominant over a Tennessee team. And then, as I mentioned, Penn State they were not losing that one after that first half. And Notre Dame, they just had Indiana's number from the get-go. So, look, do I want to say we should go to 8 teams? No, not quite. No. Maybe next year, if we get another blowout, then maybe we should switch to 8 teams. Because let's be honest, I think we would all rather have exciting bowl games than to have these meaningless first round games and whatnot. Just because I get the excitement, but where was the battle from these games? There was no battle. Every team got off to led by at least 21 points, and it's sad because some of these teams worked hard to get to here. Like Tennessee, they played in the ever so tough SEC. Clemson narrowly got in by beating SMU. SMU, even though debatably they should have been ranked under Clemson, they had themselves a fantastic first year in the ACC. Indiana had a great season with Curtis Rourke as its quarterback. But unfortunately, those teams that I just mentioned, they just couldn't keep up with the likes of Texas, who's had a fantastic year other than losing to Georgia. Ohio State, which had that blunder loss to Oregon. Penn State, even though they just can't seem to beat the big time teams. And then Georgia, who is back on top of the SEC mountain.
It's crazy to see it, right? Georgia has made themselves, but they forced their way back into that. And I love it.
Without Carson Beck.
Exactly, without Carson Beck. So this Georgia team is strong. We just got kickoff right now, by the way, in the good old Yankee Stadium. And oh my gosh, what a return to open us up here. So UConn, of course, they've been impressive this year. We'll get into them in just a little bit. A very, very good start here for those guys over in the Yankee Stadium. In Fenway. Sorry. I keep on switching it up here, guys. Sorry. Pinstripe and Yankee. You got to love it, right? They battle on the baseball diamond all the time, and now they just got to battle in bowl games for their stadiums. But yeah, Fenway Bowl is starting things off in Boston. Really, really good start there for UConn in the opening drive. But yeah, Teran, I'll tell you right now, this game is going to be these games are going to be fun in this next round. But yeah, Penn State, just once again, you got 3 clunkers to open up the playoff, and is what it is, whatever. And I mean, I get it. Everyone, you will even say that Indiana Notre Dame wasn't even that good last Friday. Of course, we talked about that game on last weekend's show. But yeah, Mike even saying that the first round was a huge dud. I wouldn't say, it was that bad, but I guess at the end of the day, exactly, at least we have a freaking playoff. So I want to say, good job. We have our next round set up, which we'll get into in a little bit. for New Year's and New Year's Eve, or New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But of course, those are how the cookie crumbles for those first couple of games. And well, those are the teams that all made it. So let's get into bowl season, dude, because we have some fun ones to take a look at here. Last week, of course, the Myrtle Beach Bowl starting things off last weekend. We're not starting things off, but continuing picking up where we left off from last time. UTSA defeating Coastal Carolina 44-15. Then, of course, this was all on the same day. We had the Potato Bowl. This was a fun one. We had Northern Illinois defeating Fresno State 28-20. That was a damn good game, dude. Oh my gosh, that game was fun. Double overtime game. Super, super, super good game. And then these were both on Monday. So how about these two games, Teran?
Yeah, I thought UTSA, they really struck their stuff, and I think having that challenging schedule kind of benefited them. Now, Northern Illinois, Fresno State, this one was a fun one just because, look, Fresno State actually it looked like Fresno State was going to win this one, but then Northern Illinois kind of came back from the dead like the Undertaker and then just took them down. I thought that Northern Illinois they were resilient, especially in the third quarter. And the fourth quarter, they just stood their ground defensively. Yeah. And they kept Fresno State off the scoreboard following the first quarter. So I thought Northern Illinois, I'm going to say that win over Notre Dame was not fluky. So I think this was a great game overall. And for Northern Illinois, they just had a little bit more longevity and a little bit more bite than the Bulldogs.
They did.
The battle of the dogs, Huskies versus Bulldogs.
Right? This was the Dog Bowl. But yeah, I got to say, man, that was a fun game. This first game was cool. I just thought it was kind of jacked up that Coastal Carolina, of course, the stadium hosts this game. Coastal Carolina was not only the away team, but they got blown out by the home team, and they're the real home team. Oof. That must suck. You played an away game on your home field and then got destroyed. Poor Chanticleers, man. That was a rough go for those guys. My bad. Still love you, CCU, but man, tough go there. Big ups to the Roadrunners. But this game, Teran, was a good one, man. Potato Bowl did not disappoint on that Smurf turf in Boise, Idaho. Golly, this was a great game, man. Northern Illinois played so damn good, and Fresno State. This was a fight all the way to the finish, man. This game could have been won like 2 or 3 different times. Northern Illinois had this thing. But regardless, they were able to get it done. Congratulations to them. And solid performance there by Northern Illinois. So moving on now, of course, we went on to Sunday. Then on to Monday. Or sorry, that was Monday's games. Then we get on to Christmas Eve. And of course, the Smurf turf. That's what it's called, the Smurf turf in Boise State.
Fresno State must have been sick losing on that field.
I know, right? Oh, rival game and everything, or rival field. But on to Tuesday, of course, Christmas Eve. Teran, we got a treat on Christmas Eve.
This was the only sporting event that happened that day.
And boy, it was a doozy. The Hawaii Bowl goes down, man. Christmas Eve tradition. USF, San Jose State. This freaking game went into 5 overtimes. Teran, my buddy called me on his way home from work this day. And I was like, dude, this game is too good. He's like, what's going on? I was telling him all about it. I says, this is the kind of game where you zone in on whatever position you need on your NFL team, the GMs, and you evaluate the hell out of that guy who you're looking at. Because, Teran, this game was just like a regular old, there's no first round anticipated guys or whatever. This team was just 2 teams full of dudes who wanted to beat the other dudes. That's what this game was. Like, nobody was letting up, man. These guys were fighting like hell on all sides of the ball. And I loved it. I loved seeing this game, man. And to me, and he's like, yeah, man. He's like, this is where you put those numbers aside and you start making some phone calls, and talking to the rest of your front office as an NFL team and go, let's get some tape on this kid, because if he can play like that for us, we want this guy on our team, and this is how Bill Belichick really got a lot of his guys too, man. I think he evaluated a lot of these guys who went under the radar, and I mean, It was amazing game here. So favorite all game. Oh man, they're all of them. All of them.
Yes.
All of them. Yeah, you can't pick just one. When you're a true football fan and you love football, all of them. Mikey Two Guns asking a favorite all-time bowl game. Now, historically, there's been some good ones, like as in the past, but bowl game to watch, all of them. All of them. I mean, it's right. You just gotta love. Yeah, fair. Right. Yep. It's like Frito Lay's, bro. You can't have just one. You gotta have them all. You gotta eat the bag. Just
Yes.
open up the bag, like Sinbad said, man. When I open up the bag, it's time to eat. I can't have just one. So anyway, but yeah, man. So this was Terry. How about this damn game, dude? UCF, San Jose State going head to head, and it was kind of funny because this game, of course, our time on the Pacific Coast, it was about 9:26 when it ended. Okay. In Hawaii time, it was 6:26. But on the East Coast, it was already Christmas. It was 12:26. So kind of crazy. USF won this thing, man, on Christmas for at least their people back home watching. What a Christmas gift, right?
Yep. Yeah, this was one of the more wild games, if you ask me. And at the end of the game, it was just a great humble moment for South Florida because they were all emotional and happy. A lot of people say that bowl games are meaningless games. Like one of my buddies early today, he texted me saying, "I don't watch meaningless scrimmages." It's like, dude, it's an honor to be bowling. And have you seen the college football playoff? They've all been duds. So the fact that you call, and to keep in mind, he's a UCLA fan. Typical because UCLA didn't even become bowl game eligible. So he's bitter, salty, and whatnot. But yeah, all these bowl games have been amazing. This one might have been the best. So this was just an instant classic. And San Jose State must be sick losing in Hawaii because guess who's their conference rival?
Yep.
Hawaii. But this was an amazing game overall. South Florida deserves a lot of credit for winning this game. And this is pretty much what bowl season is all about. Just basically leaving it out on the field. If this is basically also one last hurrah for your seniors or for the players that aren't coming back. So I think this was the biggest final hurrah game. And there might have been one more game or two that might have topped it, though.
No, you're absolutely right. You're right. And Darren, this was a good one. It was a good one from start to finish. Mikey says here, what's it like for you guys watching the NFL so early in the morning? Do the games start at 10 a.m. for you guys? I can't imagine. Oh, dude,
yes.
I could never imagine watching. Like I'm so West Coast. Like I'm so West Coast. Like I could never. Taryn, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning to go lift, bro. This is what I do.
I barely got any sleep last night.
Yeah, I feel you, right? But this is what I do, dude. I wake up to 3 o'clock in the morning to lift. There's no way my work day would work because Sunday Night Football ends at like 8:45 sometimes, 8:30, 8:45 our time. That's 11:30, 11:45 on the East Coast. I would never be able to get up and go to the gym. That wouldn't even work. You know what I mean? Like, and then in the morning, what would I be doing for all those hours until 1 o'clock Eastern? I'd be going stir crazy. I mean, I guess you can get a lot done, but obviously a lot of people go to church and everything, and we still go to church. But we church only cuts into the first 15 to half an hour of football, so it's just weird. So I look at the East Coast time and go, oh no, I couldn't do that. So I'm happy we're West Coasters watching football over here because yeah, man, yeah, bro, I gotta get up and. Competing in strongman this year, competing in powerlifting this year. So I got to really get it going. Last season of football to be announced coming up. So, and getting no younger. So, so we'll see, but excited for all those good deals, man. Big ups to my boy Mikey Two Guns, man. By the way, the last year, of course, our Hall of Fame, him, Patty Champion, Ralph, and myself, we're in the Hall of Fame class 2023. Teran, been there, done that since 2019, right? Darren, I think, or
yeah, I was inductee number 10, so
yeah,
maybe 2020.
Yeah,
never was the best at math, by the way.
I know, not me either. But so yeah, I was in a couple years later, boys. So yeah, man. And no, we lost the semis, man. Riverside lost the semis this year after being in the championship game 4 years straight. We lost it this year. But San Mateo defeated Mount Sac, our rivals, and that's how that thing went. So, of course, Mike Two Guns catching up with our 3C2A news. But, Teran, this was just a great game. I loved it. USF was such a good freaking USF San Jose State was such a good freaking game. 5 overtimes to decide this thing. Congratulations to those teams. And then, of course, we get on to finishing off, of course, Christmas Day came along. No bowl games on Christmas, but there was a game on Boxing Day. There was 3 of them the day after Christmas, and dude, these were crazy, man. South. The Sports Bowl, Holy Toledo. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it there. This was too funny. This game, I mean, we go from the Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve, and then we get this game the day after Christmas. See, so they were kind of like, hold my Gatorade, man. Like 5 overtimes? Really? 5 overtimes, South Florida and San Jose State in the Hawaii Bowl? Well, we can top that. We can top that in the Sports Bowl, says Toledo and Pitt. We'll go 6 overtimes. Dude, this was crazy, man. Another game where you just write the number down of these kids on the field and go, I want the film on this kid. Because if he can play like that for us, we're going to draft him. It may not be in the first, second, third round, but we're going to draft this guy and see what he's made of. Because 48-46, man, hell of a game. Pitt just, golly, Teran, Pitt has just gone through it this year in 2 major sports, of course. Obviously, this year, they were honestly, there was a point in time where you and I were talking about Pitt possibly making a appearance in the college football playoff because they were so good. And then they started falling apart. And then Pitt in women's volleyball. Oh, just punch in the gut. Oh, like to the canvas on one knee. Ouch. Like, so Pitt has seen some rough times this year in 2 major sports. And, well, this game didn't make it any better. Toledo knocks off a Power 4 school. And, dude, Toledo won this game like 3 times, I think, before winning this game. I think it was twice because, obviously, penalties and everything like that. But they celebrated 2 times before the official victory there in overtime number 6. But how about that, man?
Yeah, this was a big instant classic right here. And you got to give it up to Pitt or Toledo. That I don't think a whole lot of people picked them to win this game, but they were just impressive right here. And, yeah, random bowl names. Yeah. But, yeah, amazing game. Great job to Tucker Gleason having himself a nice game. I will say for Toledo, they were pretty pass heavy, if you ask me. Their leading rusher only had 39 yards and whatnot. And in the first quarter, it actually felt a little weird to see a 6-2 score. So that was a little food for thought right there. And let that sink in right there. But yeah, Toledo, gotta give it up for them. They were able to outlast Pitt in that instant thriller classic. And I think that 7-5 record was more than just show. I think Toledo earned those wins and whatnot.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, dude. No, they totally did. That was a great game. I loved it from start to finish. That was a great football game. Mikey Two Guns is continuing to entertain here in the chat room. Yeah, the Weed Eater Bowl. Yeah, these random names are fun, aren't they? You gotta love these random bowl game names. But yeah, dude, I really just love the fact that we have so much great football being played. And like I said, this has been one of my all-time favorite bowl seasons. Like I love this game, of course, as UConn goes up over North Carolina 3-0. But yeah, dude, this has just been fun. So continuing on in that same exact day, the day after Christmas on Thursday, the Rate Bowl, Kansas knocking off Rutgers. Dude, Kansas State, that is, knocking off Rutgers. How about this game, dude? This was a fun game. The Wildcats were not going to be outdone in this game. These two went down to the wire, but the Scarlet Knights have come up short. The Wildcats get the victory 44-41 in the Rate Bowl.
Yeah, and this was kind of a high-scoring game. Rutgers was up by 17, and I was thinking, okay, well, this is kind of the Rutgers that we saw that kind of started off 4-0. But then Kansas State, they showed why they nearly and possibly could have won the Big 12 or been the Big 12 Conference Championship had they just played their cards a little bit more right. They really showed up in the second half. Their run game was amazing. Dylan Edwards had almost 200 rushing yards. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. And their quarterback, Avery Johnson, not the basketball player, but the quarterback, he was solid too. So I think for Kansas State, having that run game really helped them. I know Rutgers ran the ball well. They had Antoine Raymond with 3 rushing touchdowns and over 100 rushing yards. But I just think when Kansas State kept getting closer and closer, that was when Rutgers was under pressure. And again, let's keep it a buck. Rutgers is a good team, but I just feel that they just don't have a true, like, full game balance. Like, they don't have the offense and defense. Sometimes they're going to have to win in shootouts. Sometimes they're going to have to win in low-scoring affairs. It just can never be both. They just can't have that balance against a Power 4 team. That kind of showed in Big Ten conference play against other teams like UCLA, USC. I know they beat Washington, which, I mean, it's Washington, and they were on Rutgers was the host team. And we all know Washington is not a good road team and whatnot.
No.
So, yeah.
But congratulations again, man. You know, Kansas State got a nice
overall,
victory.
though.
They did. It was a great game. I enjoyed that one a lot. Good game there for those guys. And let's see, you know, I mean, going forward, let's see. Can Kansas State keep up the razzle-dazzle, the good deal? You know, I mean, I don't know. Rutgers, but both these teams played very well this year. Big 12 here versus the Big 10. So big ups there and a nice game. And then also that same exact day, the 68 Ventures Bowl, Arkansas State defeating Bowling Green 38-31. This was actually a pretty good game too. I feel like Arkansas State, this is actually a lot more dominant, I think, than the score says. Because watching this game, I feel like Bowling Green was never really in it. Like,
they were playing catch up most of the game.
They were. And Arkansas State just beat them down. So big ups though to those guys. What do you think about that game?
Yeah, I think once Arkansas State got off to an early lead, Bowling Green had to abandon the run, hence why their leading rusher only had 15 yards. But yeah, and also Bowling Green's quarterback, Connor Beslak, he had himself a nice game, almost 400 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's a good game, but unfortunately, when you're just having to pass the ball because you're playing catch up, it's never a recipe for success. And you said it best. I feel that Bowling Green was never really in it when it came to this game. I mean, give them credit for like staying with it and not getting like blown out, but it's just felt like a game that Arkansas State controlled. And I think maybe being in a Sun Belt conference really helped them just because they've had their ups and downs there, and they also played Michigan that one week. So there you go.
Great game there for Arkansas State. Maybe next year, Bowling Green, at least they made it respectable at the end. But then, Teran, after that game, of course, once again, the 68 Ventures game, we went into Friday. And Teran, yesterday, we had some goodies. Okay, yesterday we had some good ones. We definitely did. And we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games yesterday. And I started with this thing. I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight face with this game. Teran, the Oklahoma Sooners have been hideous this year. Navy, I mean, a couple plays go differently, they'd be ranked up there with Army, right? I mean, they knocked off Army even. This has just been a great year for those guys, for both those teams, both the Navy and Army. Too bad Air Force couldn't join them. Just kidding. But yeah, Teran, there was a point in this game where Oklahoma led 14-0.
Yep.
That's the last time that Oklahoma would score in the first quarter. I'm sorry, this is too funny. The Oklahoma Sooners, well, they would score 6 more in the fourth quarter, but it wouldn't matter. Okay. Because they would go for 2 and they would fail, and that's how they would lose with 6 seconds to go. But Teran, the Navy comes back and wins this thing. They scored a touchdown in every quarter. Slow and steady wins the race, right? They freaking scored a touchdown in every quarter to the third. They didn't score in the first quarter, but they scored the second, the third, and the fourth. And they went up with 4:34 on the clock. Blake Horvath scores, and there's the extra point by Nathan Kirkwood. Well, Oklahoma would score at the end of the game with 6 seconds to go, but 2-point conversion would fail, and down goes Oklahoma. I'm sorry, this game is too funny because Oklahoma's, it's just the perfect way to end the season, right? It's been a dumpster fire all year, and this bowl game seriously sums up the season for the Sooners.
This makes me wonder how Oklahoma just thumped Alabama. Like, we will never know the answer to that question. But yeah, Navy. Here's the thing about Navy: they got to such a slow start, but Oklahoma kind of shot themselves in the foot with all those drops.
They did
in terms of their receivers. But I think Navy just played an outstanding game, and Blake Horvath. This kid was fantastic. He had himself a 95-yard rushing touchdown, and dude was pretty solid. And I think that was kind of Navy's old school play. I think they just needed to get the ball, control the clock, and then just work their magic. Now, for Oklahoma, I understand most of their players were in the transfer portal, and I kind of now regret picking Oklahoma, but they didn't do themselves any favors by having a bunch of drops. And then Oklahoma on that 2-point attempt, that was the best way to go. You need to go for 2. You play to win the game. But Oklahoma just ran that so poorly, dude. It's like
horrible.
Like when that quarterback was scrambling, when Michael Hawkins Jr. was scrambling, I knew Oklahoma was in trouble. I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. And eventually Navy was able to win in a thrilling comeback. This is only the second time in Oklahoma's new coach's tenure that they have had a losing season. Second time in 3 seasons, though. So I hate to say this, but I think Oklahoma might be missing Lincoln Riley right about now.
Well, especially after last night. So rough go for the Sooners. Great victory for the midshipmen. On to the next game, the Birmingham Bowl. Teran, this was the hey, we beat some big teams bowl this year. Vandy obviously doing away with Bama. Georgia, not that Florida State's any good, but these two teams would play upsetter this year to some big schools, and they would meet in the Birmingham Bowl. Vandy knocking off Georgia Tech 35-27. How about that game?
Yeah, and this was kind of an interesting pick-em game right here. This is actually a like you said, the battle of two teams that have had fascinating seasons. Vanderbilt beat Alabama, and they nearly beat Texas. Yeah, Georgia Tech knocking off Miami, which I thought was pretty impressive on their behalf. And I just feel, I'm just going to say this for Georgia Tech. We actually did see the return of Haynes King, which this was his first game at quarterback since late August. So I feel there might have been some rust when it came to him. He only had 1 interception, but he did throw for 3 touchdowns. Vanderbilt's quarterback, on the other hand, Diego Pavia, this dude was probably had himself a fantastic story. And obviously that win over Alabama when they were number 1, that was big right there. They also ran the ball well with Pavia. He led them in receiving yards and had 2 rushing touchdowns. Altogether, Pavia had all 5 touchdowns for Vanderbilt, whether it was throwing the ball or just running the ball. So I think for Vanderbilt, this was a great year for them, and they might have a chance to build off this. They can build off this and maybe get some good talent and possibly throw their name in the hat of the SEC contenders. I now that sounds a little too obscene just because you're in a conference with Texas, you're in a conference with Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, so on and so forth. But Vanderbilt just looks, Missouri too, can't forget about them, and Florida. But this Vanderbilt team just looks so promising and special. Like, I think this Vanderbilt team might have something going for them in the coming years. This is their first bowl game win since 2013. That's how long it's been since the Commodores have won a bowl game.
Oh, man. The Vandy boys are coming, and this time not just in baseball. So, pretty cool to see it, man. Pretty cool to see this one. Also, yesterday, Teran, Arkansas, another game that wasn't even close. This this wasn't close. And this is an old Southwest Conference game. They talked about that. You heard a lot about that last year. It disbanding in 1991 when you and I were infants, basically, or close to it. And Teran, well, here we go, dude. This was just different. Arkansas, man, called the Hogs. They got the victory done over Texas Tech, 39-26. This was another not close game.
This game was kind of over by halftime. I'll give Texas Tech this. They did show some resilience, and they didn't give up and whatnot. But once they were playing catch-up to Arkansas, this one was pretty much a recipe for disaster for the Red Raiders. And I got to apologize to Arkansas. I was not familiar with your game. I thought that Arkansas played a good, clean game. This is an Arkansas team. I kind of spited them saying that they were going to get turned into pigs in a blanket, but I kind of forgot they had some decent wins. They beat Tennessee. That's a solid win right there. They beat that's actually it. They played Missouri close. They played Texas fairly close, only lost by 10. Like I said, they beat Tennessee when they were top 4 in the nation. They hung tough with Texas A&M. That's another good team right there. So, yeah, I know their quality of wins didn't really show it, but this Arkansas team, they kind of showed some promise too. I think just being in the SEC kind of toughened them up a little bit more, whereas Texas Tech, they were in a Big 12 conference which had a lot of parity and balance with like BYU, Colorado, Iowa State, and Arizona State. I just feel that Arkansas just got a lot more used that toughness, and that's kind of what I think I failed to realize, because Texas Tech, while they did have a better record, I just think Arkansas just took their licks and took their lumps, and eventually they showed in this bowl game. And I just think that the 6-6 record doesn't do Arkansas any justice, just because they were in a majority of those games, and beating Tennessee was no easy feat.
No, that's for damn sure, man. Arkansas played well. You know what? As an SEC team this year, hey, they played well in this game. Texas Tech, I expected more out of them in this game. I really did, but there's nothing there. So, yeah, no pigs in a blanket this time, Teran. The Arkansas Razorbacks get it done. Nice victory for those guys, and how about it? You got to love it, man. I'm excited for them to have won this game. Let's see what they can do next year. Let's see if they can get back. Remember those days? Remember those Felix and McFadden days?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just saying, maybe we'll see another Arkansas team coming up soon. And then, of course, the Holiday Bowl. Teran, this game was another weirdo. Holiday Bowl in Snapdragon Stadium, our neck of the woods. Yeah. Mikey Two Guns enjoying the pigs in the blanket. But, yeah, this was a game where I thought USC would end up, but they didn't. Syracuse playing Washington State. Wazoo just didn't look like they wanted to be there for a while. Like, Syracuse really took off to an early lead. Washington State kind of caught up, but then Syracuse just kind of left them in the dust. It was a weird game, Teran. I don't really know what to say about this, but I do know that Syracuse they definitely outclassed Washington State.
Yeah, I think Syracuse beating Miami was not a fluke. I think Syracuse really showed their stuff. Now, I will give credit to Washington State. Their receiving leader was Kyle Williams, who had 172 receiving yards, which actually is a Holiday Bowl record. Do you know who set the record previously? I'll give you a clue. He was a big-time wide receiver, and let's just say, unfortunately, things didn't work out, and he had the one play where he wishes he could have had that back against the Green Bay Packers.
Against
the Green Bay Packers.
Oh my gosh. When was this? What was this last year?
For the play against the Packers?
No, well, yeah. When was this?
I think it was like a few years ago. This might go down as the most infamous play, which has been the most controversial thing in the NFL as of late.
Oh my gosh. This is a toughie.
Okay, one last clue. It's the catch versus no catch rule.
Dez.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes. Cax versus no Cax rule. Okay, I'm like, okay, that had to be put together for me. Okay, yeah. I got you. Yeah, and look at that. Dez Brad. I did
Yep.
not. That's wow. How about that, dude?
Yeah, I was perplexed by that. I'm like, okay. But yeah, for this game, Kyle Williams, 172
Let's go.
receiving yards, not bad at all. And Kyle McCord did everything he could for Washington State. But once Washington State fell behind in that second half and they were playing catch up, they needed to just air that ball out. They could not run the ball a lot. So all in all, Syracuse really proved themselves. And unfortunately for Washington State, the Pac-12 goes 0-1 in bowl games. Bummer, but it is what it is. And Syracuse, they just proved themselves as a little bit more mentally tough.
And Syracuse was just so much better in this game from start to finish. And then, of course, Teran, time to get on to fight on USC. The Las Vegas Bowl was a gem. I was so pissed off during this whole game, time and time again, because I seriously thought that SC was going to fall apart in this game. I mean, like several times. Freaking A&M went up by like 2 or 3 scores, I think, and early on, or close to the half. I forgot when it was. I don't know. The whole game was a freaking blur. I was just like, at one point, I was going to pay attention. I was like, oh, screw this game. But then I was like, no, I'm still watching. And then right at the end of the damn game, I mean, what a game. I mean, what a way to win this thing for SC. Texas A&M, man, I thought we were dead in the water again when Marcel Reed scored with 1:49 to go. But then SC fights back. Oh, my gosh, Jaden Mayava showing that he is that dude. Oh, my gosh, Mayava to Ford. 8 seconds left in the damn game. All it took was a nice little chunk of prevent defense at the end of it.
And a delay of game penalty.
And a gosh damn delay of game penalty. But I just can't be perfect, right? But whatever. Teran, yesterday on the show, I mean, you can't make this crap up. All right. So yesterday, y'all, Teran Rodriguez, our very own Teran over here, okay, is doing the SoCal Spring Sports Show. He's building up to this game, of course, and he is really, really going in, talking about what USC needs to do, how it needs to be done. I mean, Teran, you are going in. I'm enjoying this game. I'm over here wishing I'm in the chat room, but I'm doing a million other things, and I'm like doing my thing, cheering on Teran, right? And I'm over here just listening to the show, and he gets to the final score and he starts talking about, this is what SC needs to do, and talk about how he thinks that this is going to be the final score. I shit you guys not. I can't even fabricate this to make it sound cooler than it is. Teran over here exists is like, yeah, so I think a fair score or something like that, talking about, I think a good score for this game is 35-31. Okay. And dude legit predicted the gosh damn score of this game. Teran, dude, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Well, I mean, I knew it was going to be a high-scoring affair, and USC, look, let's keep it a buck. Most of their top players were in the transfer portal, but thankfully USC had Superman himself at the wide receiver position, Jacoby Lane. He was a beast. And Kyle Ford, if you know what Kyle Ford has been through in terms of like injuries and not being able to see the field, you will know that he deserved to be emotional after that touchdown, because he came up with the biggest catch of the game, and that was just amazing. Now, Jaden Mayava, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. He did not play the greatest. He had 3 interceptions, and he even had a play where he was getting chased, and he was lucky his knee was down, because if his knee was down, he threw that ball backwards, which would have been ruled a fumble, and that would have been a loss of 24 yards. So, and it was to the point where I was even saying, can Husan Longstreet play the second half for USC? Because he came from Corona Centennial, and he was at the game playing the little catch with I think either the quarterback's coach or the receivers coach and whatnot. But he couldn't play because he wasn't an official student. He was just early enrollment just because he wants to better himself because high school football season is done. So back to Jaden Mayava. Look, I know I kind of said what I said yesterday where I said I think maybe Jaden Mayava might not be it, but maybe he could be it. I mean, he got a little uncomfortable, but he came up big when they needed. And as the old saying goes, great players don't always need to be great. They just need to be great when they truly need to. And Jaden Mayava was great in the fourth quarter. And believe it or not, Texas A&M was 7-0 when they led after 3 quarters. There was only one time where they didn't lead, and that was when they were tied with Arkansas in that game where Arkansas played them close. But yeah, USC was down 17, which actually was the biggest comeback in USC bowl game history where they came back and won. The previous one was when they took down Penn State in the Rose Bowl when Sam Darnold had that legacy game. But yeah, this was such a great game for USC. I get it. It wasn't the season that everyone wanted. Everyone's going to probably poo-poo all over Lincoln Riley and say, oh, he didn't manage the game correctly. But Jaden Mayava just basically went Superman mode. And I'm glad Jacoby Lane got the MVP of this. 3 receiving touchdowns, 127 receiving yards. And maybe we got to see the emergence of Brian Jackson, who I thought did really good at the running back position. Because remember, no Woody Marks, which really sucks because Woody Marks would have been so good. And it was even to the point where USC was had one of their offensive linemen go out. And then they started a player that was redshirting, Justin Tawanu'u, who I kind of covered in his high school days in terms of the offensive line. So USC had the deck stacked quite a bit against them, and they were playing Marcel Reed in Texas A&M. And Marcel Reed, while he wasn't perfect, I think he's the guy going forward for Texas A&M. And overall, it was just an amazing game. And USC started its season with a win in Las Vegas and wound up finishing its season with a win in Las Vegas. So build off this for next year, USC.
True.
Please.
Look, even Blue has something to say about this. She has joined the show. She was, had her head up right now, and I was like, all right, well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, you can't make this up, ladies and gentlemen. Look at yesterday. Yep. Our very own Teran Rodriguez over here, man. Prediction. This is crazy. Crazy score, man. I mean, hey, Teran, we'll put this as our background for the rest of the show. I'm down. You guys down? This is good. But oh man, I mean, because what a prediction there. Teran calling this thing, man. And awesome job, man. Because what a prediction. It's pretty cool when you get them right. That happened to me in 2012, the Super Bowl with the Giants winning 21-17 over the Patriots. So that I'm just saying, it's kind of cool when you can pick a score, right? And it's right because sometimes it's not always correct. So it's cool when you can get it. So awesome game there, dude. SC, fight on. Let's go. Finally, something nice. Finally, something nice. We always say sometimes, schools just can't have something nice. Well, this was something nice. Let's have it. Let's enjoy it. And damn it. I mean, let's just please take this into next year. This is a horrible season for SC. But let's get on into next year. Let's go. Let's see what we got. So with that said, Teran, we take ourselves one more break. When we come back, we're going to recap what was a weird, well, actually, we'll get let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on in. We obviously picked all of our bowl games.
Well, Larry, I actually would like to propose something to you. So I found out that Travis Hunter and Shedeur Saunders are going to be playing for Colorado, and you picked BYU and I picked BYU. Did you want to change that pick?
You know what? Yeah, they're going to be playing. You're absolutely right, because I'm almost positive they're going to win this game now with both of those guys.
I'll still keep my pick with BYU.
Okay.
Now, another thing is Cam Ward is also going to be playing for Miami. We both picked Iowa State. Did you want to switch that pick too?
For some reason, I thought they're going to lose still because it's Miami. But I'll go ahead and take Miami. Why not?
I'll
spice
still
things up.
Keep my pick with Iowa State. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually getting smoked in these bowl games, and I'm going to really need to get it together. Otherwise, Larry's going to beat me he's going to be the new king of the Pick'em Bowl games this year.
Teran's won like the last 4 years running, I think. So we're good, dude. So I'm always just wanting the upsets and fun stuff. I'm like, yeah, I need to stop doing that. Teran's picking smart. So, yeah, dude. So we're gonna get into it, man. We got so this is gonna end off today. Obviously, tomorrow we got more NFL coming up your way, but Monday, obviously, the Music City Bowl, Iowa and Mizzou, good old Missouri. So we picked all of our picks already to start a bowl season, so we're not going to make our picks now. But then on into Tuesday, of course, New Year's Eve, we have Alabama, Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl, Louisiana, which is crazy because that was a championship not too long ago. We have here Louisville and Washington in the Sun Bowl. South Carolina and Illinois in the Citrus Cheez-It Bowl, Baylor and LSU in the Kinder's Texas Bowl, and of course we have in the Fiesta Bowl, which is a semifinal game, college football playoff semifinal game, Penn State and Boise State, and then on New Year's Day we got Texas, Arizona, Ohio State, Oregon, and Notre Dame, Georgia. So we did pick the bowl games already, Taryn, but we did not pick these ones because they weren't ready yet. So
Right.
Now to add to these, New Year's Eve, even though we picked the other games already. All right, Fiesta Bowl, Penn State and Boise State. Who are you taking?
You know what? Even though Penn State tends to lose these games against higher-ranked opponents, Penn State's going to win this one. Look, I like Boise State. I think Ashton Gentry is a fantastic running back, but Penn State also prides themselves in having themselves a strong backfield as well. So I think Penn State's going to win this one. I think it's going to be one of those old-school games where controlling the ball, controlling possession, and controlling the clock is going to be essential. I just think Penn State's just too battle tested. So give me Penn State over Boise State.
This is a huge one. It really is. I might be crazy. But this might be the first time I think Penn State actually plays in that Smurf turf ever. Because Boise State's typically been lower. Penn State's always been a Power 5, now Power 4. You know what I mean? So I don't know if Penn State's ever been to Boise.
They're playing in State Farm Stadium.
Well, State Farm Stadium. Okay, sorry, not the Smurf turf. But
they still have to go further than Boise State.
They will. But I'm just saying, okay, well, against Boise State, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
and this is an away. This is an away.
Yeah, that's true.
Thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, still not on the Smurf turf, but this is crazy to think, man. But, yeah, this is a close game for me. And you know what? I don't care. I don't even care. I'm going to do it. You know what? I don't really believe in this team. I just don't. I'm going to go Boise. There's just something about Penn State. Is what it is. I mean, I've never been a fan of these guys. I'm still, till this day, I am still pissed off that USC let them score 49 points in 2017 in the Rose Bowl.
And yet they still wound up winning.
And they still won that game. I'm sorry.
That was when Saquon Barkley was on that team, though, in their defense.
Yeah, I'm just still mad. I don't care. Shouldn't have lost that game. I know. Everyone was like tripping on me because they were like, wow, you're the maddest, happiest fan I know. I'm like, yeah, I was very angry.
Legacy game, though.
Oh, yeah, seriously. So, next game, Teran, this is it. Next up, we got here another one. So, that's New Year's Eve. New Year's Day, obviously. Texas, Arizona in the Peach Bowl. Who are you taking?
This is kind of fairly easy to pick. Texas is going to roll past Arizona State. I think Arizona State can keep it close, but they are out with their top receivers out.
Yeah.
I just don't think that Texas is going to be slowing down for Arizona State. Like, if this becomes a shootout, I don't think Arizona State can keep up. But Arizona State, they're playing with house money here. They got nothing left to lose. Everyone's probably picking against Arizona State.
Yeah.
But I just think that Texas matches up way too well against Arizona State.
I think so, too. I would like to see Arizona State win this thing. But if I got to pick a game to, like, upset, you know what I mean? It's going to be the Fiesta Bowl. I'm going to take – I like my odds Boise over Penn State than Arizona State over Texas. So I definitely got to go Texas in this game. But let's see how it works out. Obviously, the Rose Bowl on the same exact day. Ohio State, Oregon, round 2. Look, it was a close game in the first game. I don't know why I feel like Oregon's just going to actually win this one probably by more this time. What do you think?
You know what? Call me crazy. I'm going to take Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
Look, Ohio State they had a blunder against Oregon the first go around, right? I just don't think Ohio State's going to have that type of blunder game. I mean, I know Ohio State fans are probably going to question, why am I picking Ohio State against a very talented Oregon team? I just think this might be the game where Ohio State is going to really strut their stuff, and I think they're going to play a little bit better and cleaner football. And Ohio State obviously kind of got its clunker games out of the way. I think this might be the game where Oregon just has their clunker game and they just fall short to Ohio State. But I'll take the Buckeyes. It's a risk I'm willing to take, though.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. I just don't think anyone's beating Oregon, but we'll find out. We'll see. Let's go. Let's see what happens in the Rose Bowl, and then of course the Sugar Bowl, Notre Dame and Georgia. How about this one?
See, this one might be the battle of two really good defenses. My only thing is for Georgia, will their run defense be up to snuff against Notre Dame? Because Notre Dame has a really good backfield and rushing attack, and Georgia's won't have Carson Beck. So, this is so tough. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I feel this is the type of game that Georgia might lose against a talented team like Notre Dame, who has a good balance of strong offense, physical offense, and really physical defense. And whoever is starting at quarterback following Carson Beck's injury, they're going to be running for their lives because Notre Dame is like top 5 in sacks per game.
That is a toughie. Good stuff there, Teran. Let's see how that works out for you. I guess I can't go anywhere else but Georgia. I think they're going to win this game. Let's find out. This is going to be fun, dude. Let's see what happens. Let's see how our picks go this week. And that is that. So we're going to take ourselves a quick break, dude. When we come back, we are going to break into the NFL, recap what was a very weird Week 16. I'm sorry. It was another weird week for me. But we'll find out who does what, because Week 17 is coming on up. We got 3 games today, one of them starting in an hour. So let's get it. So let's do this, y'all. We're going to take ourselves a quick break and come back. Well, it's time for the NFL. You are listening to Mega 3 and Out right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Be right back after this.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies,
And your one-timers,
you wicked wristas.
and be sure to protect your 5-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
What's up, everybody? This is Teran Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo sports with a twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to say, man, that'll be the last time we play that drop. I had to play it. I had to at the very end. I was like, oh, I got to send off Patty right. If you didn't see her announcement already, ladies and gentlemen, that is, it's bittersweet, of course, because she's going to go on and do some great things. But yes, Patty Bax has announced her retirement from IE Sports Radio. She will not be fully retired. She'll be doing her, she'll be doing blogs and everything with us and still guest appearing on our shows and everything. But she is just done an amazing thing, man. She is just getting close to retiring from work, and her and her husband Fram. He was on the Sports Cup Perspectives talking about his 6 Hall of Fames, being in 6 Hall of Fames, bowling, and just amazing stuff from those two, from the Baxes. So they're enjoying their bills and loving every minute of it. And you gotta send them off right and say, congratulations on an amazing couple of years here at IE Sports Radio. So Patty Bax, we thank you. This will be her last show coming up this Tuesday. She, of course, still the only show on Spreaker. So that's right. Tip the cap. Hats off. Even if my hair is all nasty right now, sorry. But yeah, she is totally awesome. And we just want to say that she is, always, she's loved here at IE Sports Radio. We appreciate her, and we're happy that she was a part of us for all these years. That's right. Show hearts for her. So she's awesome. Oh, look, there's the hearts coming out of Teran. Enjoy. Hey, you're too much. But hey, dude, thanks again. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome, man. So with that said, big ups to Patty. We thank you for being here. And of course, we appreciate you. Congratulations on a great career here on IE Sports Radio. Even Blue saying hello. But she's now she's gonna go catch the trash truck outside, that's out the window. But anyway, yeah, dude. So with that said, man, we appreciate you all so very much for tuning in, and we appreciate you, Patty. So send her off correctly on New Year's Eve for her final show, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. How about that, man? The end of an era. The Buffalo Huddle will be fine. A new host will be starting soon for our new Buffalo show. But hey, man, Patty Bax calls it a career at IE Sports Radio.
Yep, it was an amazing run. I will definitely miss her. Like I said to her, Tuesdays are just not going to be the same. But I just have to acknowledge her amazing resiliency and how she just continued to just keep pressing forward, even through all the tough times in terms of like the Bills seasons and whatnot, just falling short. They're very easy to root for. And obviously Patty's show was very easy to like listen to, especially with how she breaks down all things Buffalo sports and how she pretty much has that Buffalo sports with a twist and that added
Yeah.
positivity.
And I love it. I thought it was always awesome. It was such a great show. So tune in one more time for that show, you guys, coming up this Tuesday. Super excited. I don't know if if it's 139 or 140 or wherever we are, but I do know she's awesome, and I'm excited for her for one more go around of the show, man. So with that said, Teran, let's get into it, man. We got one more segment here as UConn leads now 17-7 over North Carolina in the
That pick of ours
Wasabi.
is looking good.
Oh, it is. It is looking real good. So they're looking good right now, winning that game so far. And the Pinstripe Bowl is getting ready to get underway, and actually getting underway right now. Coming up, actually, that's another goodie. We have Boston College and Nebraska going head to head, so that's another fun game we picked. But all right, Teran. Well, on to NFL Week 16. Quick recap. Here's all that craziness down here. We're just going to run through Week 16 fast, because obviously we got to talk about some of this last week. But anyway, Teran, I mean, any surprises in this week? I mean, obviously we talked about it last week. Chargers, of course, getting a big victory over the Broncos last Thursday. Then on Saturday's games, the Chiefs, we thought, I don't know, this game was what it was supposed to be. The Texans were going to fight. They weren't going to win. The Chiefs won it. The Ravens knocked off the Steelers. Ouch. Tough go for the Steelers in that game. And then on to Sunday's games, man. I mean, it was just I don't know, some of these games I mean, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say about some of these games there. And I would love to say that some of these teams are getting better, like the Raiders actually winning a game, but that was just a game that they played against another crappy team, and it was the worst team wins. And then obviously the Raiders screwed themselves in the draft. But whatever, we'll see what happens. But the Rams obviously did away with the Jets. So I'm going to run through it really quickly from last Sunday. The Rams over the Jets 19-9. Commanders over the Eagles, which was, I think, one of the biggest upsets, I think, of the entire season. This was crazy. Commanders 36-33 over the Eagles. The Falcons knocking off the Giants. Surprise, surprise. 34-7. The Penix era has begun. He looked good. Panthers over the Cardinals. 36-30 in overtime. Bengals over the Browns. Surprise, surprise. 26-6 over the obviously Bengals over the Browns. 24-6. Colts over the Titans. 38-30. Lions over the Bears, 34-17. Vikings over the Seahawks, 27-24. Bills over the Patriots, 24-21. And then Dolphins, 29-17 over the Niners, ending their playoff hopes. And then two teams whose playoff hopes ended like 3 months ago. We have here the Raiders defeating the Jaguars, 19-14. Sunday Night Football was a weird game because the Buccaneers just continue to fall from grace, losing to the Cowboys, who were eliminated earlier that day, 26-14. And then Monday night, it was exactly what I thought it would be. The Packers just running up and down that field all over the Saints, 34-0. So obviously we had NFL Christmas and Thursday Night Football to talk about, but just all of Week 16 together here, Teran. What do you think?
Yeah, there were some fascinating games. I was surprised Carolina was able to pull out the win over Arizona, but then again, Arizona has not been good on the road
at all.
Philadelphia losing Jalen Hurts to a concussion kind of hurts them, no pun intended. But Washington showed resilience, and they're still in the hunt for the NFC East. Miami and Cincinnati, as well as Indianapolis, they still have a pulse for a wild card spot in the AFC, but a lot needs to go their way, and I'm guessing they're going to need some help from probably the Broncos opponents or the Chargers opponents if you're Cincinnati. But Tampa Bay losing that one, they're no longer in control of their own destiny, and they need the Falcons to lose one game at least. So I think the last couple of weeks are going to really determine, and I feel the AFC is already locked up. It's just only a matter of time before the Chargers and Broncos make it official.
Yeah, no, it's this thing's already done. I mean, I don't know. We'll get into the playoff picture in just a little bit, but Teran, I mean, that's pretty much that. Into this past week, man, NFL Christmas did not disappoint. It was a lot of fun. The Chiefs, man, the Chiefs did. just did away with the Steelers. How about this week for the Steelers, dude? The Steelers lose to the Ravens last. I mean, if Ralph is listening, he's probably turning it off right now. But they lose to the freaking Ravens on last Saturday, and then they get defeated by the Chiefs at home on Christmas. Last year, the Raiders beat the Chiefs on their turf, so I think the Chiefs were just trying to return the favor to somebody. Probably wishing it was the Raiders. They swept us twice. They swept us this year. But anyway, the Steelers would lose on their home turf. And then later on that day, the Ravens would beat the Texans 31-2. One safety is all they got. And the rest of the freaking game was just Ravens all day long on Christmas. I mean, Steeler fans, this has not been a good last 7 days, I guess, or 8 days, if you will, or whatever. And then, of course, Thursday Night Football, one of the weirdest football games I've ever seen in my entire life. I love defensive games, but this wasn't a defensive game. This was like a
sloppy, wet mess.
Yeah, exactly. Seahawks win 6-3 in the weirdest football game I think I've ever seen, and there you have it. So before we get to today's games, Teran, your thoughts on these first three of Week 17?
Yeah, the Steelers, they kind of went through a little bit of a gauntlet facing the Eagles, Ravens, and Chiefs. That is such a tough 3-game stretch. And the thing about the Steelers is, barring Baltimore loses to Cleveland, the Steelers have to get the job done against the Bengals, because if they lose that one and the Chargers win out, Chargers get the 5 seed, Steelers get the 6 seed, and most likely and will face Baltimore, because Houston is locked in at the 4 seed. So I think for the Steelers, next week is so important and whatnot, unless of course the Chargers lose this week or next week, which they face the Patriots and the Raiders, which are pretty much vying for draft pick supremacy and whatnot. So,
yeah.
And then the Seahawks still have a pulse in terms of their playoff hopes, but they pretty much need to win next week and hope that the Rams mess up, because the Rams just need one win pretty much.
Yeah, and the Rams are basically in this thing, and congratulations to them, But yeah, any surprises though on Christmas? Did you think? Oh no, I kind of thought Chiefs Steelers would be a little bit closer, and I really thought Ravens Texans would be a lot closer. But dude, okay, I don't want to say they've completely fallen from grace, but dude, the Texans have nosedived, man.
The injury bug has been feasting all over them.
Yeah, they have just fallen apart, and it's rough, man. I want to say so much for them, moving forward, but it's like right now, I guess you don't know what's going to happen with these guys right now. I mean, you got some players that are just out, and it's so rough, man. Football is brutal, and health, as cliche as it is, health is everything, in this game and in every game, but they've been really beaten up here, right, by the injury bug. And just what a rough go for these guys, man, because they were promising this year. They were really promising. I think they were one of the most promising teams coming into the season. Just staying healthy was the only deal, and unfortunately, they just couldn't stay healthy, man. And that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah,
so,
and Stephon Diggs.
Oh, rough go, man. So, into today's games, Theron. We got 3 of them. It's time to make some picks here. Why not have some fun with this as we end off the show in a few moments here? But, Theron, we got ourselves starting in just under an hour now. Chargers at Patriots. That sounds like fun, right? Then we have Broncos and Bengals coming up later on. Bengals are basically, I know they're still in it, but they're not.
They're fighting for their lives. They're on life support pretty much.
They're fighting, and I just don't think, I think the Broncos end this one today. And then, of course, we have your Cardinals and Rams, which that's another weird game because they're
Cardinals
both in it.
pooped the bed last week. Their
They
downfall
did.
must be studied.
Yeah, seriously, right? So anyway, Teran, who are you taking in these 3?
I got the Chargers over the Patriots. I feel this one might be a little bit of an old school game and low scoring affair, which favors the Chargers.
Yeah.
I got the Bengals over the Broncos. I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are going to really light up the Broncos, even though the Broncos have a very good secondary and a very good defense overall. And then I've got the Rams over the Cardinals. Should be closer than expected, but I think the Rams get her done and pretty much lock up a playoff spot.
Yeah, same here. I'm almost positive. that it's going to go exactly that way. So easy. Chargers, Broncos, Rams in this one for me. But
I picked Bengals.
Oh, Bengals. I'm sorry, Bengals. Okay, well I'm gonna go Broncos. I don't know why.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm gonna go Broncos in this game. So there we have it. 1, 2, 3, and then of course into this weekend. Here we go. We got all kinds of fun games happening tomorrow. Fun games happening. All right, so we have the Suck Bowl between the Raiders and the Saints. Kale and I on Sin City Sports. Actually, no, it wasn't even on Sin City Sports. This was on 3 and Out. 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. Earlier in the year, obviously, back in late July, we talked about how crazy this would be if the Raiders were riding a playoff spot and were facing Derek Carr, in this game being so important. And wow, this turned out to be yet another toilet bowl with the Raiders, involving the Raiders. But Raiders, Saints, of course, playing this one. We see Jets, Bills. I mean, these games are they're pointless. Another one, Titans, Jaguars, just pointless. Panthers, Buccaneers. I mean, that one's kind of pointless too in a weird way. Eagles are definitely in. Cowboys are definitely out. So another game that's just kind of being played to be played. Colts and Giants, another game to be played. Dolphins and Browns, another one. Packers and Vikings. This one actually has some playoff deal around it, seeding. And then Sunday Night Football, which is going to be a good one. Falcons and Commanders, another playoff type game here. And then, of course, Monday Night Football, which is a total wash. Niners and Lions at Niners. So anyway, your picks for all these games.
I got the Bills over the Jets. Buffalo, I think they've pretty much got the 2 seed locked up. They just need to win one more game, but they just got to be careful with the Ravens.
Yeah.
Raiders versus Saints. I got the Raiders winning. They have no business winning this game, and that is why they will win. Saints don't have Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara, and Chris Olave is questionable as well. I got the Colts over the Giants. Colts are fighting for their playoff spot, and they can ill afford to lose that game. And the Giants are pretty much playing for draft position at this point.
No, you're absolutely right.
I also got. Let's go Eagles over the Cowboys in a close one. Kenny Pickett will be starting at quarterback for the Eagles. I still think he can get it done because now that he won't be just suddenly thrown into the fire, he's got his feet wet.
Yes.
And then Bucks over the Panthers. Bucks need this game because if they don't win this game and it boils down to Atlanta winning, then Tampa Bay's done. So give me Bucks over Panthers. I'll pick Titans over Jaguars. That's a weird game. I don't know who wants to win that game more. The big question is who wants to lose that game more.
Yeah.
I'll pick Dolphins over the Browns. See, my big concern for Miami is can they win in the cold? And I think it's going to be fairly cold in Cleveland. But I think the Dolphins get it done. They're fighting for their playoff spot too, their playoff lives too. So give me Dolphins over Browns. I'm going to pick the Packers over the Vikings. This one's so tough to predict just because Vikings need the win to stay in the hunt for the NFC North. Because if they win and the Lions win, Week 18 is basically for the NFC North crown. And we all know that would be big ratings. I'll pick Washington over Atlanta. I know Washington's defense has not been good, but they should have their way against Michael Penix Jr. And Jaden Daniels is a talent on his own. And then Monday, I will pick the Lions over the Niners. As this is pretty much the Lions get back game for the NFC Championship game from last year. So I got to go with the Lions. Even though the Lions are beaten up, I think they should overwhelm the Niners.
Agreed. So, yeah, I mean, let's see. I'm going to run through my picks real quick, but yeah, no, I love it. I agree with plenty of yours. So obviously I'm picking the stupid Raiders because you're absolutely right. They're going to win because they should lose, but they're not. So, definitely Bills. I'm going Bills. This one's a pick 'em. Who cares? Jaguars, just because. Buccaneers, Eagles. Who else? Let's see here. Colts, Dolphins for sure. Oh, Packers and Vikings, dude. Isn't this is the greatest game? Isn't it the greatest game? All right. So I can't pick against them, dude. I'm going Packers. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. This looks good. So we'll see. Obviously, I'm gonna say Commanders, and then of course, true Lions over those 49ers. So there you have it, dude. That is week 17. And then, of course, getting in next week, we have week 18, the week that shouldn't even be played. I don't know why we have an extra week. It's so stupid. But there you have it. And then, of course, into the NFL playoff picture. And here it is, dude. I mean, looking at foxsports.com, AFC, got Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston, Pittsburgh, Los Angeles Chargers, and the Denver Broncos in the hunt. Of course, Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals somehow still alive. I don't know how. And then there you have it. And in the NFC, everybody else has been eliminated. And in the NFC, we have the Lions, Eagles, Rams, Falcons, Vikings, Packers, and Commanders. And then somehow still alive, the Seattle Seahawks. And I mean, clean on to the hair of, I don't even know. I mean, they're shaven and they have somehow, they're hanging on to a piece of stubble. The freaking Buccaneers, man. So this is good times, good stuff. Let's see what happens, man. But I mean, obviously, I mean, I don't know. With what we picked right now, I mean, I'm pretty sure, this team is, I mean, these teams are all but set. Like I said, I really don't like this extra week, but we're going to get an extra week of football, like it or not. And there you have it. So anyway, dude, oh my gosh, what a fun show, man. That was fun. We always have a good time. That was fun, dude.
It was. I'm glad to talk some football with you. NFL season is pretty much winding down in terms of the regular season. And then the college football season is getting interesting. And bowl game season, it's looking, I'm really loving the bowl games. I can't stop raving about them because most of them have been one score. You had South Alabama winning their bowl game by one score. Memphis winning their bowl game, one score, 42-37. South Alabama won 30-23. You had Georgia, Sam Houston State beating Georgia Southern 31-26. So on and so forth. Other than the college football playoffs, this bowl game season has been fantastic.
It has been, man. So I'm excited, dude. We are ready to roll. We've been ready to roll. We've been rolling since freaking July, August. Teran and I have not missed a show. We roll, man. We've been rolling since August. Let me go take it back and look. August, was it 17th?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Teran, we've been going since August. No, August 10th.
Oh, yeah, their preseason show.
Yep, we have been going since August 10th, you guys. So, yeah, I mean, weeks and weeks straight. We love the game, and we are continuing on, guys. So we're going to be going all the way into the bowl. Like I said, next year, I don't know. We might just have all three and out, Teran. I'm just saying, we're going to have to make segments and obviously change some things around here on the show. But I'm just saying, man, we might just have one big three and out. It works. It works well, especially with my schedule being crazier and crazier every year. So, but there you have it, y'all. Mega 3 and Out while it still exists. Episode 4. Merry Christmas football style. It was a great one. Now, a Happy New Year to everybody. Teran and I will be back. Who knows when? He'll be going to Texas with his brother tomorrow, and we're trying to figure out when we're going to be getting in and all that good stuff. But we're going to have ourselves some fun. We should make it work. So, show some love to our awesome sponsor, Planet Jerky, Vital Apparel, Feel the Deal Wax Seals. For my boy Teran Rodriguez, for me, your boy Larry B. We will see y'all coming up soon. Until then, take care, and as always, God bless.
Happy New Year. See you next year.
Peace.
Peace.